I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just...
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Done.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. So we were initially to speak with Mr. Leslie Vass. I don't know what happened to Mr. Vass today, but we're going to keep the party rolling anyway. We have stated on this show many times that while America has 25% of the world's population, America also has while America makes up 5% of the world population, forgive me, 5% of the world population, we have 25% of the world's inmates in America. How many people in America? I think I roughly say 400 million. We should know these things too, folks. You got Google. How many people in US?
2021,
331 million.
United States of America.
How many people in China?
In
1.4 billion. How many inmates in China? 1.7 million in China. How many inmates in America?
According to
1.2 million. We have disproportionately one of the highest incarceration rates in the world. And unfortunately, Black people, who comprise some 13% of the US population, we make up half the prisons. Now, I have some conservative friends, and of course, conservatives tend to be tough on crime, as long as it's not them, like Donald Trump. As long as it doesn't involve them being accountable, like January 6th, like racism, like anything else. As long as it doesn't involve them, they have everything to say. But as soon as the shoe is on the other foot, then you see who they really are. Maya Angelou says, when they show you who they are, believe them. And this country is full of it, absolutely full of it. So it has been the mission of this. Who are you writing up here, Michael Haney? Thank you, Michael Haney. That number is off. Okay, 331 million. Okay, very good. My bad. Of course, prison is a part of our economic system. That it is. It's all about business. Did you know that they have private prisons like in California. And if you have the money, you can pay for private accommodations. One thing that I've heard repeatedly is from people who have family members who are locked up, incarcerated, is how much it costs to make a phone call. And so you look at the Black community. Now, sure, there are upwardly mobile Black people whose families have been doing well for generations. They work hard, they go to school, they go to college, some go to the military. Home ownership is a regular, it's a norm, it's normal. But that's not the case for all of Black America. Some of Black America is struggling. All you have to do is walk out your front door. All you have to do is ride down North Avenue, down Pennsylvania Avenue, down Greenmount, down East Monument Street, and one can see the despair. Faith has gotten many of us through over the generations, having good times kind of helps subside the pain, but we never really deal with the challenges involved, because the challenges, I mean, when you think about what we go through as a community, it's just one thing after another. Prison was the alternative in America to Black slavery. Michael, why don't you come on in? I'm gonna put the link right here. Since my guest backed out and you have so much energy. Prison was the alternative in America to Black slavery or free labor. It is written in the Constitution that it is legal. It is legal in the case of criminality, which was a blurred line, because as slavery ended and this new post-slavery era started, chain gangs were implemented, Black laws, all kinds of things that would further disenfranchise Black people. Other initiatives, other policies like the Homestead Act, they just excluded Black people. Even though our soldiers fought for this country in every major war, battle against the British, the North against the South, World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, all the way through Iraq, Afghanistan. Our soldiers always fought, but it didn't matter because they would come home and get lynched, some of them. So we're talking about returning citizens. Over the 21 years or so that B1 News has been in effect, we have made it our business to push a 5-point agenda: Black business, public education, returning citizens services, affordable housing, and universal access to health care. And while there are critiques of the first Black president, I can say that he addressed all of those issues. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget the time that President Barack Obama went to a prison and talked to the inmates. Never before had I seen anything like that. I don't know if it has happened before, but I have never seen it happen. And it was very encouraging to me to see that at least this president made it his business that day to go and visit the people behind the walls, because many people of his gender and race, Black males, have find ourselves behind the walls. So I thank God. It's not like I've never been locked up before. Thank God it was only a couple of days. There's a sign over Baltimore City Jail that says never again. And I swore to beans, never again. Prison, I imagine, is very dehumanizing. I had one homeboy. He got locked up so much. He was incarcerated much of his teenage years. And so when it came time for him to come home, he was afraid to come home. He didn't know what to do. He was afraid. His sister told me he was literally afraid to come home. He was afraid to be on the streets. He was more comfortable in an institution. I grew up with this kid right there. We saw in East and West Baltimore at an early age how prison was almost preordained for so many. They say that you can tell by the age of 8 they can tell by the age of 8 that whether, they can determine a child's trajectory by the age of 8. And I guess it's not rocket science, but it always blew my mind as a little kid. How did you know this person was special ed? How did you know this person required special services? And I guess, in retrospect, it's not a difficult thing. But I knew back then in elementary school, I'd heard them say it, that they know. I heard teachers talking about it. They knew by the age of 8 where a child was going. And I'm a little kid, and I'm like, what do I do with this information? I just stayed in school, loved school, always loved school. But I knew other kids didn't love school like I did. I knew other kids had some serious challenge. Well, I didn't know it then, but in retrospect, they had serious challenges at home. For instance, if your mom is an addict, we've seen alcoholics, but the whole cocaine thing, the heroin thing, if you got a parent that's shooting up, these are things that our young people are dealing with. And they are struggling to be normal. Matter of fact, some of us have been so traumatized we don't know what normal is. What is normal? Michael Haney, you gonna join us? We're gonna bring in Miss Gwen Levi. She's an expert on this area. You there, Miss Gwen? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Say hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning. Can you hear me?
You're breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yes. You got your mic muted. Unmute your mic. I'm gonna let her get adjusted there. So we must have these conversations about returning citizens. We must, because these are our brothers, our fathers, our sons. These are our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. Now, again, not all of Black America has been disaffected by the prison industrial complex. But I tell you, a lot of Black America has. All right, let's try Miss Gwen again. Miss Gwen, can you hear me? Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic. Oh, okay, she backed out. So, hey, Michael Randolph, why don't you come on in here? Michael Haney then left me hanging. We're talking about returning citizens, Michael Haney. Michael Randolph. Michael Haney chickened out. So as we think about this, we must continue to have these conversations because increasingly, you just saw the young man yesterday, J. Wendell Gordon and Warren Brown went out there and fought pro bono for this young man who was involved in the shooting. And he is facing 35 years. They gave him involuntary manslaughter. Miss Gwen, you there? Miss Gwen, you there?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes. How you doing?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes. How are you doing? Can you hear me? Why don't you use your phone, Miss Gwen? So we brought Miss Gwen in we were supposed to be speaking with Leslie Vass. I don't know, things happen, and so we tried to get a backup. But Miss Gwen got violated for not being able to check in on her electronic device. And but these are the things that happen, and it's real. It is serious. You know, the only thing between you and your freedom is learning how to do this damn Zoom. How would you feel? And I told you, a childhood friend, I mean, he just never wanted to come home. What about for the people who want to come home? How you doing? You still there, Miss Gwen? So we're going to do it like this. We're going to get you like this. Let me help you out this way. Y'all hold tight. We're talking about returning citizens. We're talking about mass incarceration. We're talking about the fact that America has 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's inmates. Major issue. No. We're gonna do it right here on this phone, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So how you doing today?
I am great this morning. Great. Glad that you were able to get in touch with me this morning. It's one of those days that I am free in the morning.
Praise the Lord. Tell them your story, Miss Gwen.
Oh my goodness, where do I start? I originally was sentenced to 400 months. That's 30 some years for drug distribution back in 2006. I was stayed incarcerated, tried to do everything I could to change my drug dealing habits and to develop some of this skills for more positive. Knowing that I would be released eventually, I just knew that I would not do all that time. Not that I wasn't guilty, but I just didn't think that I deserved that much time. So what I did was try to transform myself, and I believe I did that within the 16 years that I stayed incarcerated in the federal system. During that time serving federal time, I got transferred back to Maryland under a reciprocal agreement that allowed me to, when they shut down, remember when they shut down Jessup for men?
Yes.
Well, the state didn't want to pay for some of the men that they sent to federal prison at that time, so they exchanged some women. So I was one of the first 12 women who got down here under that exchange in 2007. Stayed here, developed cancer, got healed from cancer.
Praise the Lord.
Got transferred, stayed here 9 years, got transferred due to the cancer back to federal custody to a hospital. Carswell Medical Center down in Carswell, Texas. Got sent from being home with visits every day, every week. Family active in helping me to transform myself, allowing me to take classes, doing different things. To Carswell, Texas, where I knew no one. But God was good. I got a medical clearance, prognosis of cancer-free, and continued my quest to try to get home. 2014, signed up for Obama's clemency initiative. Got denied by our good old President Obama, but I was blessed with a public defender who felt that she would do everything she could to continue to fight for me, and she did. So in 2019, they passed some laws saying that we could get our time reduced because of certain incidences in the federal system. It's called the First Step Act. I was able to get my sentence reduced from 400 months to 292 months, which allowed me to take advantage of the First Step Act, which got my sentence reduced. I put in for compassionate release, got denied again, still waiting. Then President Trump comes in with this CARES Act. That's the act that gave all the stimulus money. Well, it also allowed for, if you were predisposed to get cancer, to get the COVID, if you were predisposed to get COVID, and you had a good institutional record, you were no threat to society, that you could come home on home monitor. So I was released on home monitor.
You were released because of Trump?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
well, golly.
I'm still not voting for him. Thank you, Lord. I appreciate what he did. But let me tell you what he also did. A little bit before he got, after he found out that he wasn't getting reelected, he sent out an Office of Legal Counsel memo, which said that the Federal Bureau of Prisons must, not may or might, but they must send those that were released under the CARES Act back to federal custody within 30 days after the pandemic ends. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So
he gave you a vacation.
Yeah. So that began, well, wait a minute, listen, 30 days. So that began not just my quest, but a whole bunch of advocacy organizations started trying to figure out, well, what the heck is going on? We can't allow that. So we started Biden now as president, you know. So we started trying to entertain President Biden to let him know that this was not right. I asked the question, so now what am I supposed to do? Pray that the pandemic doesn't end so that I can keep my freedom? Is that what you're asking us to do? There were others like me, thousands, who I had came home and started new lives, started families, got married, got jobs, went to school, started careers. You know, we have been home over a year now. By now, so we're fighting for this. You know, we even went to the White House dressed up as turkeys for Thanksgiving. When Biden was pardoning the turkeys, guess what the turkeys' names were?
I'm scared to ask.
Peanut butter and jelly. That's what a joke he thought clemency was, peanut butter and jelly. So we petitioned, walked in front of the White House and said, no, don't pardon turkeys, pardon
people.
And that was what the organization called FAM, Families Against Mandatory Minimum, one of the strongest organizations fighting for relief for incarcerated people. But there were other organizations, the National Council of Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls, Maryland Cure, National Cure. I can't even begin to name the organizations that were supporting us and fighting and calling in congressmen and senators and say, look, come on, talk to Biden, get this overthrown. We don't want to go back. We are doing good things in our community. So that's where the quest began. Really, my really a lot of my public advocacy started with that. And then I knew I wasn't fully equipped for a lot of stuff, so I tried to call the halfway house that I was assigned to here in Maryland. It's run by the Volunteers of America Corporation. It's called the Chesapeake Halfway House. It's located at 5000 East Monument Street, Baltimore, Maryland.
East side.
Yes, I give all that information to say that that's going to be a whole nother topic of conversation on another program, which I hope we will have, is about that halfway house.
Is it good?
No. So that's why I said it'd be a whole nother conversation. But anyway, they have a.
Do you have a book coming out, Miss Gwen?
No, they have a classroom set up. No, don't talk about a book. They have a classroom set up for computer training with a bunch of laptops and computers in there. So I asked, could I come back over and get some training, because I didn't know how to navigate these phones. You can see what problem I had with the computers today. So. And I was told no, that because I was on home confinement, I couldn't come back to the halfway house and take a class. So by then, another organization that I was advocating with and volunteering with was the Maryland Justice Project. A young lady named Monica Cooper. A lot of people in the city know her. She's very, very active in our community, doing a lot of stuff, great programs she has, doing a lot of stuff in the city for returning citizens. She said, well, Levi, we can start a class if we can get enough people to take it. So, of course, we got enough people. 4 or 5 people was all she needed. She started the class free on Saturday mornings. I put all the paperwork in that was due, and asked them, and so they said, yes, I could take the class. Because I'm on home monitor. You know, they call you every 2 or 3 hours and to check on you. The monitor allows them to know where you are at all times. Okay? I'm at this class the first Saturday, fine. Second Saturday, fine. I think it was the third Saturday. They decide to call me while I'm in class. Of course, you're in class. You don't have your phone on you. It's turned off. So from 10 to 1, my phone was turned off. 9 to 1, I think it was. My phone was turned off. And evidently, they started trying to call me around 11, couldn't reach me. So they said that for 4 hours, they could not contact me. And by the time I got out of class, I was determined to be an escapee. And they notified me that I was an escapee and that I would have to return to prison, return to the halfway house.
What did you think?
I almost lost it. Yeah. I had left the country one time because I was wanted. And, you know, those thoughts came through my mind again. I'm not going to tell no lie. They did.
Shit, it would have crossed my mind too.
You know, those thoughts came across my mind again. But fortunately, I had contact people like Monica Cooper, like Tiffany from the Maryland Peer Advisory Committee. I had people like that I could pick up the phone and call and tell what was going on with me. And they guided me. They told me, Miss Levi, we will be with you. Monica said that I'll get all the information to them to show where you were, because she had videos of me being in class, all that kind of stuff. So Miss Gwen, what's the anyway? The outcome was that they sent me back to prison. They sent me. I had to turn myself in. They sent me from Baltimore to D.C. to await the marshals to pick me back up for me to finish serving my sentence. Miss Gwen, what's the shot of hope to people out there in similar situations? What's your shot of hope to them? Get involved with organizations that are doing the work, that are doing the things that you know need to be done. Get some support. Make sure you're not out there trying to do all this by yourself. As soon as you come home, contact one of these organizations. Let them know what your situation is. They can help you with anything, including getting sent back to prison. I read just this week, no one is successful by themselves. No, not at all. Not at all. And if it wasn't for those organizations supporting me, rallying around me. But also, I'm going to tell you another important organization that a lot of people don't get enough credit to. That's the Public Defender's Office. Come on. If it wasn't for my public defender adamantly fighting for me, making sure that everything got organized, all the paperwork got to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, she went so far as to send back to my judge and ask for a compassionate release. You know how I got back out of prison? Because of all the advocacy work, because of my public defender and Maryland Justice Project and other organizations out to justice. I can't even name all of them. Maryland Peer Advisory Committee, Turnaround Tuesday. It would take too long to name all the organizations that assisted me in getting back out and that I'm grateful and thankful for. But those organizations are here in Baltimore, and they need people to volunteer, become a part of, participate in their activities. You hear about them. They put notices up, they put flyers up. Take the time to see what some of these organizations are about. Get in where you fit in. Everything's not for everybody. Some churches have ministries, prison ministries. Some churches have reentry programs. Get in where you fit in, but get in. We need active participation in these groups so that they can continue to do the work that they do, and that's helping formerly incarcerated and incarcerated people. I mean, they go into the prisons. Right now, I'm going into the prisons with Pratt Library, taking reentry work back into the prisons. Who would figure? What do you mean? What do you mean? Who would figure? I'm just saying, who would figure? Somebody sentenced to 400 months. I was supposed to not come home until I'm 93 years old. So see how blessed I am? But why do you give back? Why do you give back? I gotta give back because I left some great women inside. I got some women who don't deserve to be doing 60 years, 50 years, 35 years, or 10 years, 5 years. It doesn't matter,
Miss Gwen, we have.
I gotta do this work. I gotta do this work. There's no other work for me to do, and that's to advocate.
Miss Gwen, we have a generation on these streets right now. What do you say to them?
Don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. I'm gonna tell you something. I had a quote yesterday. I don't know who wrote it, but I heard it yesterday. It says, they thought they could bury us.
They didn't know we were seeds.
They didn't know we were seeds. Yes. 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 That's my story. That's that quote for today. Yes, and I say that to all these young people. You are a seed. Continue to grow. Do not let them bury you. There are too many opportunities out here. The library yesterday, man, our Pratt Library has gotten to be an awesome place.
Yeah.
If you haven't been in your library recently, please go visit your library.
No, we want to be on Instagram. We want to be on social media. We don't want to go to the library.
Listen, the library has social workers, lawyers. They're helping people with expungement. They're helping people get their GED, not just the GED, a high school diploma. All this is free. They're giving away laptops to organizations. There's so many programs that the Pratt Library now has. They have a total reentry program now for formerly incarcerated people. They're getting ready to do a resource fair. Night before last, they had a group on called My Brother's Keepers. A bunch of guys, young guys. Doni, you got to have them on. They got My Brother's Keepers. You got to have them on, Doni. Them brothers are doing some things. They had the Pratt Library filled.
Miss Gwen, we've just been joined by Michael Randolph. He's down in Tampa. Mike, you got that other volume on?
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. We had a little feedback there. What are your thoughts on the interview thus far? We're talking with Miss Gwen Levi. We're talking about returning citizens. We're talking about the fact that America has 5% of the world's population, but 25% of the world's inmates. We're talking about the havoc it wreaks on the Black community nationwide. Your thoughts?
Oh, she's an awesome lady.
Incarceration of Black men. Maryland, would you believe?
Maryland
has the
what happened?
The largest incarceration of Black men.
Maryland lock up more Black men than any other state.
Yes. Yes.
Come on in, Michael
Randolph.
Randolph.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, this is an awesome lady that you have interviewing today. She's somebody's mind. I think everybody knows somebody that's been affected by the criminal justice system. The fact that she's able to come home and tell her story shows that she has a purpose. She really does. The other thing is that when people come out the system, most people are subjected to remain under the bus for the rest of their life because of one particular or two mistakes that they made. So I think that we're in a crisis when it comes to the prison system. I'm just so happy to share this platform with her and to hear her story.
Okay. So, Ms. Gwen, who are some of the other people in the city of Baltimore who people should have in their network? I mean, I guess I'm thinking indirectly about Rudy and Rennie and those cats. Tell me about your support network.
Rennie Vass, owner of the Cultural Center.
She must be having problems with her phone.
Community organizations.
kind of like I'm left behind. Can you hear me, Donnie, or what's going on? Excellent. So you can hear me now?
So, Ms. Gwen, you mentioned Nicole Hansen. For those who don't know, who is Nicole Hansen?
Out for justice, young lady, powerful, dynamic, energetic. She got energy like you wouldn't believe.
Yes, she does.
Yes, and her organization is doing a lot of participatory defense work. They're going to court with people. They're going to pick up people and making sure that when they come home, they have the services that they need. Her program does all kinds of trainings, and it's the same with Maryland Justice Project. They kind of like work together, and they join forces with one another, and they do programs. Maryland Justice Project has a program that I was talking about that had free. If anybody needs computer literacy or to know more about how to use your laptop and all that stuff, call Miss Cooper at Maryland Justice Project. She has a class free on Saturday, every Saturday.
Okay, let me give Michael Randolph a chance to chime in here. Mike, what are you doing? What are you seeing done now that you abandoned us in Sandtown and moved down there to Florida, the vacation capital of the world? What are they doing there? What are they doing there in Florida? Because Florida ain't all that kind of black people either. I still can't forget Martin and George Zimmerman.
No, Florida is not that kind to black people. As a matter of fact, if you do a crime in Florida, you're gonna do 75% of your time, just like the federal system. So when you go in, you're going in just like on the federal system. But what we're doing, because we realize that when it comes to returning citizens, the current system does not work for them. That in order for them to be successful, they have to start their own business. So we started this thing called e-commerce home-based business, where they can start their own business, painting, whatever they skill they had to start their own business in order to be productive members of society. Because the traditional ways that it's set up, if you got a record, you either going to get a low-paying job or you're going to get no job. What we're seeing now is a lot of people that's returning us from the system, and they starting their own business. Now they're able to be productive members, and guess what? They don't go back, and guess what? They hire other members from that particular category in order to work and get them to where they need to get at.
So, Ms. Gwen, can you relate to that?
Yes, definitely. Here in Baltimore, some organizations are doing the same thing. You know, we're trying to entrepreneurship classes, living classrooms, Safe Street, all those programs are offering opportunities for young people to develop those entrepreneurship skills. So, yeah, in Baltimore, we see the same thing. A lot of people can't come home and get jobs. They're not, but they have ideas, they have talents. And so a lot of organizations are teaching people how to develop those talents. Pratt Library is getting ready to start an entrepreneurship program for the young ladies who are coming out of Jessup, or for former people who've been home 3 to 6 months. Look for a program at the library, entrepreneurship training. They want to help people. There are organizations that are doing that right here in Baltimore also. We see the need that everybody doesn't have a job skill. But there are organizations that not only giving you job skills, but teaching you how to have your own job so that you too can employ some more people.
Ms. Gwen,
so many talented people here.
Ms. Gwen, I'm going to ask you because I don't know. When a person becomes incarcerated, when they have to do a bit, how difficult is it for a person to focus on learning a new job skill?
It's difficult. It's difficult because a lot of places don't have any programs that you can learn a new job skill. A lot of places you're just doing time. So it's imperative of us that the system is not working. You
used to get a college degree. I would hear about so many dudes who got college degrees while they were incarcerated.
Well, we've been blessed that the Pell Grant has been returned. It has stopped. but it has been returned. So that opportunity is going to become available to those who would like to avail themselves of getting a college degree. There are now programs, they're allowing some new programs to go into the prison system. So I would believe that anybody who's inside, start asking questions before you come outside. Don't wait. Don't wait until you get outside. We got to start revamping that prison system from inside out. A lot of us are doing the work on the outside, but a lot of us, even down in Tampa and even in Florida, we got to go back inside and start making those caseworkers talk about the programs, let the people know that there are things that they can do before they get out here, that they can prepare themselves so that they be better prepared when they do come out here. I was fortunate to be in a prison at Jessup that allowed a lot of programs to come in. We did conflict resolution. We did we did an entrepreneurship class, those kind of things. So I was blessed with that. But most prisons don't have all that. They don't.
Ms. Gwynn, I want to tell you that the man who developed STEM City USA, this show got an Emmy nomination from the Academy. And it was because of people like Dr. Tyrone Taborn. He has launched a initiative called Locked Out No More. It is a bold and revolutionary voting rights initiative designed to restore the democratic right to vote to disenfranchise individuals with criminal records. Dr. Taborn and others want our people to know that they still have the right to vote.
We worked on that last year here in Maryland a lot. They got the right to vote back. And here in Maryland last year, before the election, we found out a lot of people didn't know it. So organizations like Out for Justice, Maryland Justice Project, Black Girls Vote, all those organizations rallied last year to make sure that the formerly incarcerated people knew. We had buses that went all through the state, making sure that they knew. We visited prisons to make sure that everything was set up inside the prison with the League of
Women Voters.
League of Women Voters and Board of Education. Board of the Voter Education. No, the Education Board.
Were there any Black organizations involved, like the NAACP or the Urban League?
Yes, they were, but my initial involvement was with, like I said, nonprofits. Like they have a coalition called Expand the Ballot Coalition. That coalition involves all those organizations around the state, not just the city, but around the state, to make sure that people know their rights. We're now in the process of beginning to voter education so that next year we'll get all the support we need to get some of these bills passed. So voter education is one of the main keys. And you have that right in the state of Maryland. When you first come home, you can register to vote. When you go get your driver's license, you can register before you even get out of prison. And that's what we're saying to the prisons and the institutions. Make sure that those people, ladies and men, know that they can register to vote. And when they come out, find an organization, NAACP, National Action Network. There are organizations all over the city. I can't begin to name all of them. And if in this interview, ladies and gentlemen, if I don't turn around Tuesday, any of the organizations, if I don't say your organization, please forgive me. They're coalition organizations that do the voting stuff. Build, Turn Around Tuesday, Expand the Ballot Coalition. I can name 1,000 coalitions, but like you say, last night, again, I go back to what you just said about STEM City. Last night, I met some guys. They have programs, that my brother's keepers, you got to get them on. I say it again, you got to get them on.
Michael Randolph, your thoughts? I see you there. I don't want you to feel left out. Any thoughts?
Yeah, this lady is awesome, man. I could sit back all day long and just hear her story. But one of the other things we're doing when it relates to people that's returning back to return to citizen, is to teach them how to invest. Now, $1.8 trillion being spent by African Americans every year. We're teaching them how to do crypto, how to do stocks, how to do bonds, all that stuff in order to keep them out. But more importantly, what we're doing is to make sure we go into the system like six months before they hit the streets, in order to get them ready for the community, to get them introduced back into the community, to be part of the community. So that's important too, because a lot of people come out and they got nothing. They have no support. But we're getting ready, so when they hit the streets, they already connected. Once they hit the streets.
Donnie?
But I
Yes,
think that's
ma'am.
important, man. Changing the narrative when it comes to invest, not only for returning citizens, but for everybody. Teaching them all about stocks and bonds, NFTs, all those things, in order to keep them economically above board.
You know,
I'm surprised I'm speechless today because this
Hold up, Mike.
lady has
Hold up, Mike.
definitely.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Gwen.
When he mentioned going back into the system, going back into these facilities, there are organizations like No Struggle, No Success, a guy named Stanley Mitchell. They go back in, they go to court with people, they help people to get out. Not only do they go back in the institution and help people to prepare for coming home, when they come home, they have a place for them to come to where they can get some necessary skills if they need any kind of wraparound services. You know, so what he's saying is so important. Starting inside and coming out. We can't just wait until they get out, you know. So anytime you can have an avenue like he does that goes in, it's awesome. So I applaud the work that they're doing, especially when you say Florida, because right now they're telling all black people to stay the heck out of Florida. So, you know, to see that there are people down there that are doing the work, it's great. Continue, brother. We love to hear what you're doing.
Tell me more, Michael Randolph. What else y'all got?
I'm speechless, man, because I'm just listening to this lady. But I think that we even teaching, more importantly, the average youth how to start a business, so they won't enter into the system. Teaching them technology like how to use finance, how to use stocks and bonds. We're teaching them the same thing when it comes to people that's returning from the system. We're trying also to make sure that we try to get those records expunged to the extent possible, so they can know they're really a whole citizen again. But more importantly, we know that the system is designed to send us to jail. It's not by chance that we're going to jail in large number. We can go all the way back to the way they put drugs in our community. And I can go back on and on again. You know, it's surprising they're trying to figure out why so many blacks are going to jail. Well, you created the conditions in order for black people to have no option but to go to jail. But I'm really impressed with this person right here, girl. She's really doing awesome things. And you know what's important? Only people that walk that trail can talk to other people. So with her background, she can talk to other people and encourage those people really to be about the change that's necessary to change the community. But those are some of the things that we're doing related to the returning citizen population, because you know, Florida don't love black people. Well, I'm not going to say Florida, but the governor does not love black people, and that's why we're struggling here and then Florida in order to just be able to make it. But we're turning the system around.
Miss Gwen, Michael, I'm gonna share some of the comments. Amen, Miss Gwen. I hear the emotion in your voice. Mike Randolph, great to see you, my brother. Coppin State has one of the largest degree program with the penal system in Maryland. And then the most recent comment from Tamira Washington, reentry should begin the day you get incarcerated. Miss Gwen, any message to our young people who are standing on the corner of Pennsylvania and Lawrence all day, smoking weed, selling weed in front of the police? Any message of hope to our young people?
Yes. One message is take 2 steps off that corner and look at your library. Second message is take 2 steps off that corner and go back home and talk to your mom and tell her, look, Mom, we got to do something different. Let's call around and find out what we can do different. There are avenues. There are so many places. Stop saying that there's nothing out there for you. Take that same initiative that you got up this morning and when you got on that corner. Take that same initiative to call one of those organizations and go visit them.
Okay,
man. What they can do to help you.
Now, Ms. Gwen, I gotta ask you. You live in Baltimore. Where have you traveled to help returning citizens?
When do you mean wherever traveled? Outside of Baltimore City?
Yeah, to help returning citizens. Where have you been?
I went to Atlanta.
What was in Atlanta?
Atlanta was one of the biggest conferences that I went to. The formerly incarcerated Family and Friends Network. It's a network that has formerly incarcerated people from all over. Every state was represented in Atlanta, and they doing voter registration and voter education and reentry work for citizens all across the country. I went to New York with a guy named Victor Pate.
Mr. Victor Pate.
Yes, you know Victor Pate. Thank you for that introduction. I went to New York with Victor Pate to be on the National Action Network Criminal Justice Panel. I've been with an organization called FAM in Washington, D.C., talking to our state senators. I was with Senator Van Hollen a couple of days ago in his office, letting them know about the different bills that are coming up and how they're cutting the funds for public defenders' offices, which we need. Lobbying down in Washington, D.C. with Out for Justice, Maryland Justice Project, all last year. There's an organization called Maryland Cure. It's a national organization that does lobbying, legislative education.
You've been to Annapolis.
Annapolis so many times. Oh, God. Mr. Carl Snowden is down there doing some work.
Go, Carl Snowden. Go, Carl Snowden.
Yes, with the Public Safety Committee. He has an organization called the Congress of African American Leaders. I'm on that Public Safety Committee. We go into the prisons to make sure. Last year we were in there making sure that they knew that they had the right to vote and that the institutions was putting the ballot boxes and things in places where residents could get to them. We also were able to go and talk to state's attorneys about the Integrity Network, Aisha Braveboy. It was then Marilyn Mosby. Tribute to her.
You know, Aisha Braveboy. Yeah, Aisha Braveboy could end up being the next county executive of Prince George's County.
And as she should. I would come over there and support her and advise all my Prince Georgians to support her.
She got a birthday party coming up in a week or so.
Okay, well, maybe I'll send her a shout out to that. I don't know about going to the party, but at least I'll send her a shout out. Listen, her office has an integrity and conviction unit that I went and visited and talked to. They were instrumental in getting no struggle, no success to become a partner with them to so that when they have people who are coming home from Prince George's County who come to Baltimore, they've connected with no struggles. So state's attorney's office are not just about convicting us, at least some of them are. They're about helping those who deserve that help. So shout out to Aisha Braveboy. Hopefully our new state's attorney here in Baltimore will take that same kind of avenue. I haven't had much contact with him, but I'm hearing some good things. So I look forward to working with him also.
So let me bring in Michael Randolph. Michael Randolph, you wanna chime in?
Yeah.
We ain't bring you on for your pretty looks. We brought you on for you to deliver some content.
So what we're doing, Donnie, in order to deal with the youth on the corner is to get them to start their own business. That's how you get them off the corner. I can't emphasize home-based e-commerce. As a matter of fact, my business is home-based. Everything I do in my business is done out of the house. If you get those young people to be entrepreneurs, they will leave the corner. Unfortunately, what we're doing is to get them to leave the corner for like a minimum wage job or jobs that don't pay that much. Starting their own business changed the whole narrative. We got one group that's a paint group, young people going around painting houses. We got another group of young people cutting grass. They are making money. And that's what we have to do in order to really take those young people. I see Mike Haynes is here. How you doing, Mike? But that's what we need to do in order to change that narrative when it comes to young people. And then we need strong communities. In West Hampton, let me tell you about this community. Nobody gets into this community without checking in with the community first. A lot of neighborhoods, you have people coming in, developers coming in and doing what they want. When you got a strong neighborhood, then you got people that are going to definitely control the process in that neighborhood. I like to talk about that this one day when you got a free time about how does community empower themselves and control that neighborhood. What they're doing in West Tampa is similar to what they did in Sandtown when the empowerment zone came together, when all the community came together and had the power. That's the same thing that's going on in West South Tampa now.
But there's a certain apathy, Mike. People are tired of nonprofits. They look at nonprofits that come through places like Sandtown as poverty pimps, and they don't care if they black, white, purple, or green. People are tired of nonprofits coming here. We coming here to help you black people become empowered, and they make these fat salaries and move and go back to Columbia and really don't care about the community. Or they come here and want to tell people how to live when nobody asked them to tell them how to live. We asked you to bring some resources. Yes, Miss Gwen.
Did you hear what he said? He said,
excellent, Donnie. You put it to the.
He means neighborhood associations. Places like
it's hard. Well,
don't have too many.
Well, Miss Gwen, Miss Gwen, Miss Gwen,
have to organize themselves.
Miss Gwen. Yes. Easier said than done. We've been trying to do the. Miss Gwen, let me finish. Let me finish, Miss Gwen. Easier said than done. When you talk about Sandtown, you're talking about the worst socioeconomic factors in the state of Maryland. You're talking about a community where a lot of the leaders have died. A lot of the leaders have moved on. So you're left with really everyday people who are just trying to make it from one day to the next. It's easier said than done.
Yes, it is. But if they see
that's true.
Community, that neighbor next door walking out of her house and she says, where are you going? Oh, I'm going up to the school. They're having a meeting tonight. Come on, join me. That's what I'm talking about. The individuals. I'm not talking about great big organizations. We got to each one teach one. We got to go back to that. Take your neighbor. If you know of a meeting that's going on in your neighborhood, that or a school or a store that's allowing those guys to stand out in front of it, take 5 of your neighbors and sit
Ms.
down.
Gwen, that's a kind of misstatement. The business owners do not want drug dealers standing in front of their stores. But this is what happens. They've called the police so many times on these drug dealers. There are a limited number of police. The store owner ends up getting into trouble because these drug boys won't leave. There's one cat, I swear to God, every day I hear his voice, and I'm talking about 3 blocks away, I have to catch myself because I want to take a bat over there and knock him upside his damn head. You can hear him touting 3 blocks away. And it's like, I know the people over there are sick of him. So it's easier said than done. Some of our people.
And we need to go down to the police station.
Come on, Miss Gwen. Come on, Miss Gwen.
Come on. What we gonna do? Just keep saying what we can't do?
No, one day I'm gonna run over there and I'm just going. One day I'm gonna run over there and I'm gonna tackle them.
And then I'm gonna have to.
No, I'm gonna have all black on and I have my escape mechanism already available. But I just want to hit him like Ray Lewis coming across the middle. I just want to hit him with an elbow and knock his damn head off because you got homeowners all around and this fool just thinks it is normal to stand out there and say blue tops all damn day. It's us. A lot of it is us. It's insane.
I feel the same way. I felt the same way about the squeegee kids. You know why? Every car in Baltimore has a button you push that washes your windows. I don't need you to wash my windows, youngin'. I need you to go to the store, cut my grass. Do what that guy say to start something. You know, it started out as a good thing, but now we have all this automated system. We don't need you.
Okay, well, what about the white addicts?
I need you.
What about the white addicts that come up to you?
I'm talking about.
What about the white addicts? What about the white addicts that come up to you? Let me finish. Let me finish. What about the white addicts that come up to your car in a black neighborhood looking all pitiful? And I mean, I'm just as violated by that. How dare you come to this black neighborhood that you still got real strong sentiments about January 6th and climbing the walls of the Capitol, and you gonna come to my neighborhood and call me a nigger?
And guess what? Who who is sending out? Why they still on that corner? Somebody in our neighborhood is giving them 10 cents.
And I've seen it. I've seen black people give the white addicts dollars.
That's right.
But they won't give a squeezy kid $1.
I'm saying don't give none of them nothing and get them off them corners.
I'm gonna give a squeezy kid $1. He out there trying.
Well, I think there's better things he can try than stand on the corner and get in the way of the traffic. I think there's better things that he can try to do. That's just my personal opinion. I love the young man. I don't just tell him no. I tell him there's a program that's feeding people such and such a place. They could use somebody to help them. There's this or that. I speak to him. I talk to him. I try to encourage him. But yes, I let him know. Come on, there's something better you can do. And like I say, each one teach one. That's just my personal opinion. I think that there are opportunities like Living Classrooms who's taking these squeegee kids. The mayor's initiative right now that's offering them entrepreneurship training. Yeah.
You know, this city could do a lot more. I heard you mention Living Classrooms. Let me tell you, Living Classrooms gets a lot of damn nonprofit money, and they just ought to be giving back because they've been pimping our community for a very long time. But that's a show for another day. Miss Gwen, any final thoughts? And then I'm gonna give Michael his final thoughts. We've gone over, and yes, I did use the N-word on this show because we needed to make that point. Okay, Miss Gwen, you get your final thoughts.
My final thought is register to vote, get involved in something in your neighborhood. Go to your next community association, neighborhood association. Go to your library. Just do something. Take the one thing this week, one thing positive that you know is wrong, and say something or do something about it.
I agree. Miss Gwen, we love you so much. How can people get in touch with you if they want to team up with you, Miss Gwen? I love you so much. I thank you because you and I are not supposed to agree on everything. But when it comes time for fighting, you already know what it is.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. They can get in touch with me, Gwen Levi, 443-695-6480. That's 443-695-6480. Gwen Levi, 1945 at gmail.com. That's Gwen Levi, 1945 at gmail.com.
Michael Haney said,
to hear from people.
Michael Haney says, thank you, Miss Gwen. He said, a great show. Michael Randolph, you get the final word all the way from Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, well, I do agree with you, man. When it comes to nonprofit, in general, they are what we call ghetto pimps. They come in, they do something, and they leave. What we did in West Tampa was different. We mobilized, organized, and created our own strategic plan, 5-year plan, as to what everybody should do. So when they came into the community, we already knew what everybody was supposed to do. I definitely want to talk about that one day, Donnie. I know I don't have enough time now, but we have a message out to the inner city, the poor communities. Yes, you can. If you got the right plan, you can control the money that's coming in and control the money that's coming out. That's my 2 cents for the day. Love to have a whole hour conversation about that. Thank you, Donnie, for giving me an opportunity. Thank you, Ms. Gwen, for a powerful presentation. And Mike, love you, my brother.
Up the day, down the mind. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am.
I am somebody. I am.
I am my brother's keeper. Good morning, world.